Rachel Zegler has been told to shut up by Disney executives when they realized she was hurting their business irreparably. Zegler said, "May you never know peace," to Trump and his over 75 million voters, and the public really got furious after that. Disney has had enough and forced her to apologize, and Zegler did say sorry, but it looked completely fake.
Ago, decided to tell every single person that had a different political opinion than her that they could F off, and that she hopes they have no peace whatsoever. And now today, she has bent the knee.
She claimed it was just her opinion, but seriously, does that sound like an opinion to anyone? Saying "may you never find peace" is more like a curse than a personal viewpoint. Even Disney, the epitome of woke culture, seems to have hit their limit with her antics. They're probably realizing now that her behavior is not only controversial but downright intolerable, even for a company that prides itself on being ultra-progressive. We all remember the earlier uproar drama. When Rachel made headlines for bashing the original Snow White, back then she went on this wild rant criticizing everything about how the classic didn't resonate with her and that it was extremely outdated. Fast forward to damage control mode, and suddenly she's in interviews claiming she loves the original. Talk about a complete 180 shift in stance and hypocrisy. Disney even paired her up with Halle Bailey to do some PR fluff pieces hoping the public would forget. Spoiler alert, we didn't, but here's the thing, Rachel isn't entirely to blame for this mess. She was practically plucked out of nowhere and thrust into the limelight. One day she's unknown, the next she's cast in West Side Story and then Snow White. That's a lot for anyone, let alone someone who seems more interested in activism than the actual job of, acting. And sure, she's young, but at what point do we stop using that as an excuse? She's an adult, and by now someone in her camp should have told her to zip it.
But she believes, quote, "everyone has a right to their opinion even when it differs from my own."
You can have the opinion, you just shouldn't know peace afterwards. That's pretty
Yeah.
Remember the days when Hollywood stars had handlers to keep them out of trouble? Back then, these so-called handlers would swoop in before a celeb said or did something career-ending, but now it feels like these actors have free rein to self-destruct, and let's be real. Rachel's comments about Trump's supporters and her subsequent half-hearted apology are just the latest example of how out of touch Hollywood can be. Now let's get back to Rachel's fury toward Trump and his millions of American voters. When Trump was elected, Rachel took to Instagram to vent her frustrations, posting an emotional rant across multiple stories. Megyn Kelly didn't hold back either, calling out Rachel on her show. She even went as far as to say a pig and suggested Disney might need to redo the film altogether. Harsh but not surprising, given the backlash, and honestly, Disney deserves every bit of it.
Zegler for comments in her Sirius XM show Thursday, calling Zegler a pig. Something wrong with this person. And telling Disney they would have to redo their film, as Zegler should be.
When the heat got too intense, Rachel issued an apology on Instagram, but let's be real, it was as genuine as a reality TV plotline. The post was clearly written by Disney's PR team. Rachel claimed she let her emotions get the best of her and even threw in a line about how hatred and anger push people further away from understanding noble words. Sure, but coming from someone who just declared her critics unworthy of peace, it's hard to take seriously. This whole saga is just another chapter in Disney's ongoing PR nightmare. They've been pushing identity politics and woke narratives for years, and audiences are finally pushing back. And here's the kicker, this backlash isn't coming from a place of hatred or bigotry. It's frustration with being talked down to by the very people we're supposed to support with our wallets. It's no secret that the culture is shifting. Even Hollywood's starting to notice. Major players like Jeff Bezos are stepping in, telling their media outlets to tone it down. Heck, the owner of the LA Times was on Fox News talking about firing part of the editorial staff to bring more balance. Why? Because they're feeling the pinch. Audiences are fed up, and it's hitting them where it hurts their wallets. At the end of the day, money talks. Disney's attempts to pander to every woke trend under the sun isn't translating into box office numbers, and this Snow White debacle is just another example of that. They're scrambling to salvage the situation, but it feels like too little too late.
Reeling in some of these freaks, but they deserve all of the backlash that they're going to bring them. Remember, they already tried damage control with Rachel Zegler after her.
When it comes to celebrities like Rachel Zegler, it's hard to tell what's genuine and what's just them trying to fit in with Hollywood's latest trends. Are these people really standing up for what they believe in, or are they just saying what they think their peers want to hear? Let's face it, Hollywood is full of folks who follow the crowd to stay relevant. Some of them probably don't even believe half the stuff they say. Take someone like Brie Larson. She's the perfect example of a celebrity who likely thought she was just playing along with what was expected of her. But Rachel, that's a different story. She seems like a true believer, right up there with people like Mark Ruffalo and Robert De Niro. These are the ones who dive headfirst into every political issue as if it's their personal mission to set the world straight. But the shocking thing is that actors are essentially blank canvases. Their whole job is to take on personas that aren't their own. So when you think about it, is it really a surprise that so many of them end up echoing whatever the dominant narrative is in their industry? They're professional chameleons, and sometimes it's like they lose sight of who they actually are when they're off screen. I
was called up and said, "Hey, have you witnessed what's going on? Your trailer has over 1 million dislikes. Everyone despises you. You continue to make divisive remarks. What the fuck are you doing?" And they've
What's going on? Your trailer has over 1 million dislikes. Everyone despises you. You continue to make divisive remarks. What the hell are you doing? And they've tried to. What's wild is that their assistants often have a bigger hand in shaping their political stances than you'd think. If you plucked one of these celebs out of Hollywood and dropped them into a completely different environment, they'd probably adopt a whole new set of beliefs. That's how malleable they are, and when their fame starts to fade, some of them spiral. It's like they've spent so much time pretending to be someone else that they don't even know who they are anymore. Rachel's Instagram activity is a case study of this phenomenon. She's got this whole lowercase aesthetic going on. She never capitalizes anything in her posts. It's trendy, sure, but it's also very young and trying to look cool online. Then, out of nowhere, her apology for those Trump-related comments pops up, and suddenly everything's capitalized like a professionally written press release. It's glaringly obvious that she didn't write it herself. What's hilarious is that despite all the backlash, Rachel doubled down on some of her comments before finally caving and issuing that so-called apology. It's almost like she doesn't realize the stakes involved for a company like Disney, or maybe she does and she just doesn't care. Either way, it's a mess.
It's 100% Disney getting involved right now because Disney realizes that they have been on the wrong side of this. The fans have always been right. The fans will always be right. Your woke propaganda.
Disney's trying to do damage control, but the damage might already be done. Snow White hasn't even hit theaters yet, and it's already facing a mountain of bad press. If this is the trajectory we're on, it's hard to imagine the movie being anything but a colossal flop. Let's be honest, this has Disney's fingerprints all over it. They have a long history of scripting apologies for their stars. Just look at what they did with Gina Carano. It's no secret that Disney micromanages how their actors interact with the public, especially when things go south. Rachel's apology feels like it was copy-pasted straight from an email her PR team sent her. The phrasing, the tone, the sudden departure from her usual posting style, it screams damage control. The funniest part was she couldn't resist throwing in some passive-aggressive vibes, telling people to unfollow her if they didn't agree with her sentiments. That's not exactly the way to win people over, but hey, it's consistent with how out of touch Hollywood can be. They don't seem to realize that alienating a huge chunk of their audience is, bad business. What we're seeing here isn't just about one actress or even one movie, it's part of a larger trend. Hollywood has spent years pushing certain narratives, and now the cracks are starting to show. The audience isn't buying it anymore, literally and figuratively, and while some celebrities might genuinely believe in their causes, others are clearly just playing a role to stay in good standing with their industry. Share what you think about this drama by Zegler in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more updates on Snow White and other woke Hollywood blunders. See you in the next video.